Hello, everybody. This is Hondo Carpenter, your Las Vegas Raiders beat writer on SI and the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Insider Podcast, joined now by decorated media personality and highly successful attorney in the Atlanta Buckhead area, the one and only, the great Jonathan Shop. John, how you doing, brother?
I am ready. This is a bye week. I like to say cut the bleep bye week. I know there's some consternation out there in Raider Nation. We've heard a lot of action about the Raiders, a lot of talk. Our buddy Jim Miller making some news this week with an outburst about Raider Nation. So we are ready to talk bye week for the Raiders and ready to go around the NFL again. We are week 8, cooking it up.
I see. Do you talk about now, in the interest of full disclosure, Jimmy Miller is a good friend of mine. He's not just a friend. He's a very good friend of mine, former Michigan State quarterback, former Chicago Bears quarterback, great, great friend of Shannon and I. But, John, get into what Jimmy had to say.
A lot of Raider fans see what's going on with the Raiders and they think this guy's the problem. This specific coach or this other coach is the problem. And what Jim Miller was saying this week, and he said loudly and clearly, is it's not always the coaches. He was pointing specifically to the Bears game, for example, with a defensive back practically laughing because he knew where Geno Smith was going to throw the ball and talking about that, it's not always the coaches. That doesn't excuse them. But what the Raiders need to do during this bye week becomes a little bit more clear. I am with the crowd that says you got to find out what's in your roster. So, young linemen, both sides of the ball, go ahead and get them in. You've got to find out before the end of the year, can they play? Can they be coached? What do they need to do? What do we have? So when we go into the offseason, we know we need 3 linemen, we need 4 linemen, we need whatever. Yes. And it really does start there because what you see broadly, we talked about the numbers of Geno Smith last week. Yes, we like to stay a little bit ahead of the curve here. But when you look at this team, they don't block well enough and they don't tackle quite well enough. But really the blocking is the problem. In my experience at the NFL level, how many teams get much better blocking during a season unless there's a significant injury that changes the on-field lineup? We know, for example, Philadelphia has struggled for a number of reasons. Maybe that old complacency is getting in there. The Raiders have no opportunity to be complacent. At the same time, part of what Jim Miller and his partner Pat were saying is there's a reason the job was open. It's not a great team, not a great roster. And you consider that and you look at effort, you look at the ability to be coached, you look at the ability to be developed. This is a franchise that needs to take this bye week to sort out this season. And also, and this is where I think the advantage of having Pete Carroll in the building helps. He's going to know how to find out what he needs to know about that player and that player and that player, whether they can help them in 26, 27, 28.
I have no issues with Pete Carroll. I do have issues with Chip Kelly. All right, let's move on. I don't understand. That's not true. I totally understand Sean Payton. But understanding him doesn't mean I agree with him. He goes after Russell Wilson. I mean, this makes no sense to me. Your team is thriving. He's not. It makes him look petty. I don't get it. Listen, I love rivalries. I love football. I love the testosterone-filled humanity of this precious, beautiful game that we gloriously call football. But I don't get this at all. It makes no sense to me.
It doesn't. And I don't know if this is even a story unless Wilson takes it personal and says, hey, that was about me. Of course, since then, Payton has come back and said that was not about Russell Wilson. It was about Jackson Dart. I think you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt there, or the benefit of being savvy and having a year in media training and being very close with the top information broker in the NFL for the last decade or so. And I love it. You folks out there love it that are Raider fans. We have to take our hat off to Sean Payton and take this moment.
I love it. As a media guy, I love it.
Well, I can't believe what he has done. First of all, it's like, wait a minute. You went there instead of San Diego with a giant anchor of one of the worst contracts in the 21st century, where they got rooked in Denver by signing Russell Wilson. They cut him, sent him away, and then he somehow finds Bo Nix, and all of a sudden the Broncos are not a Super Bowl contender, but they're on that second level down. They're not far away from it. And if things go their way, if they were in the AFC championship game, nobody here and listening would be shocked. So we give him credit for that. And then he does take a chance to maybe jab. Wilson is the dumb guy here. Wilson should have said nothing about this now. He should have saved it for his Russell Wilson book or whatever documentary series and all the other stuff he wants to do off the field. That would have been a good idea. All he did now was make himself look like in an organization that does not like guys that are putting themselves out as maybe bigger than the team. He did that, and he got kind of corrected by coach, said, hey, I wasn't going after him. And all he's done is potentially stir a chemistry pot in his own locker room, because I don't know. Jackson Dart may be cool with it. Somebody in the Giants may not be cool and say, hey, what are you doing? You know why people don't like you in this sport? You know why that team got rid of you? Because of stuff like that. It's an interesting thing. Let's see how the Giants handle it. Score this one to Sean Payton, but I think the lesson is, Wilson, wrong place, wrong time. You save that for your autobiography and you throw it in there then, not.
I think the problem is he realizes nobody's going to buy his autobiography. Bingo. All right, so let me throw you this one. Shannon and I are driving down the road and they get a call from an NFL GM. First words out of his mouth. Ready? Is Sean Payton the NFL equivalent of Lane Kiffin in college?
At the moment, he is. You know, Kiffin is
that not a great line?
Yes, it is. Kiffin is an interesting story because of where he started, where he went, and kind of the circle he's made. Right now, we think that he is a guy that's going to stay in the college football game. But I'm not sure that is necessarily forever because of just the whole circle he's made and the way these two sports are going. Payton also, he needs to not say anything inflammatory the rest of the year. He's got a good team. He's got something good going. He needs to say down the road, he got his dig in, and it was a good and a fun story. But we don't see a lot of the Giants players traditionally doing stuff like this. Dumb move by Wilson. Not the smartest by Payton. Good for us watching it.
You know, we love it, but they should hate it. All right, let's turn our attention. Some shade towards the Jets, Jets.
I appreciate the people that listen to this, that watch this, that have been with us for a while. We like to stay ahead of the curve. We talked on this show only weeks ago about how this is the last shot to be a starting quarterback in the NFL for Justin Fields. It doesn't look like it's going to work too well. And then you've got the owner come in running his mouth at the wrong place at the wrong time talking about this. And you wonder why you are the Jets. Now, we've talked about the specific record under Woody Johnson of the Jets, which is going to come up and has come up again since, and it should. If anything, this bails Justin Fields out. It makes me concerned that Aaron Glenn is going to get anywhere near a fair shake. And something interesting that I heard this week from Pat Kerwin took me back about 20 some years ago when I was in Savannah, not exactly in the middle of a football conversation, and heard somebody say something about the reason Bill Parcells went to the Jets was he thought he might end up with a small ownership stake in them, and that he had some folks ready to do that. I kind of dismissed that completely at the time until I heard it come up the other day from Pat Kerwin. The point is, the owner is the problem in New York. It's such a long-term fix. They're never going to get anybody. You think they had any chance to get Pete Carroll? No. They're not going to get anybody worth a darn, or Sean Payton? No.
Why do you think last year at the NFL owners meetings, I talked with multiple owners. I mean, I love Aaron Glenn. I think he is a great coach. But what did I say? When the job became available, don't take the job, Aaron, because the Jets is where you go to kill your coaching career. And Aaron Glenn, to me, has the potential to be a really good NFL coach that is not going to get another one because he went to the Jets. He is like, well, I probably shouldn't say what I want to say because it's politically incorrect, but it is the bad place to go.
What are you supposed to do now? What are you supposed to do now if you're a general manager of the Jets? You're trying to recruit people. Woody Johnson says it's hard when you have a quarterback with the rating that we've got. It's hard when you're playing under Woody Johnson. The Jets seem like, I don't think it was going to work with Robert Saleh to the point that they thought. but how much closer were they to being decent and respectable with Robert Saleh? And since then, it's gone down. And now you got an owner melting down in October. Far too soon. Bad owner, bad franchise. Give up your tickets, Jet fans.
So let me ask you this one, Johnny. I rocked the world. I had a story go viral with my suggestion to Mark Davis that says, listen, Max Crosby, love you, but I ain't playing you anymore in 25. We ain't going anywhere. 27 is where our dreams are. Sit down. What are your thoughts? It went viral. Love to hear what your thoughts were on my comments.
My thoughts are that if Max Crosby wanted to go somewhere, it's a whole different conversation. I am outside. I completely accept that he does not want to go anywhere else.
Nope,
Got
he
it.
doesn't.
I also understand completely that he only has, I'm going to play as hard as I can and as smart as I can every single down of my professional career, which is very admirable. That's Max Crosby's interest. The Raiders' interest is what is best for the franchise. They cannot afford any kind of a significant injury for Max Crosby. So I do think that there needs to be a balance between not making the guy go crazy and wanting to be traded or wanting to retire and go to Hawaii and become a fisherman or something, and wanting what's best for the Raiders. Max Crosby's got to play. Players play. Coaches coach. The general manager. They got to. The Raiders need to manage this. They have a roster that's going to be massively turned over, maybe for the rest of this decade. I think they've got some draft picks that have done pretty well so far. We need to find out more about some of the other guys. I don't think your suggestion is crazy or insane. I actually think this is the kind of thing that we may see in the future. And look what happened this week. Brandon Graham strolls back into the Eagles. Let's see what happens to the Eagles. Let's see what happens to that locker room. There's a reason, and I would say the reason starts with that complacency that maybe Brandon Graham has come back. Because look at the Eagles. Look what they're doing running the ball. They're looking a little fat and sassy, even though the record is good. That's Saquon Barkley running for that few yards? Oh. So the Raiders have to figure out what's best for their franchise. You can make a viable argument that the best thing for them to do is to basically sit Crosby or play him as little as they can as soon as they are mathematically eliminated from any playoff possibility. It's not crazy.
I'm your death angel. You're not mathematically eliminated today, but you ain't making it. Just like I'm not going to be a thong bikini model in the next Victoria's Secret calendar. There's a better chance of that than them making the playoffs. It ain't happening. All right, let's turn to our off-field story of the week. The Ravens are removing playing time. What say you, Johnny Guitars?
I say you probably got it right here. Complacency, again, kills the cat way more than curiosity. The Ravens have been so close, so many years. The human nature, according to Nick Saban and many other folks, is to drift into complacency. And you have to fight that off. Like a mother, you got to fight that thing off like you're fighting for your life. Out goes the ping pong table, the video games, a bunch of other stuffs. Out it goes. Now, will this work? It might. This is the Ravens. And although Ray Lewis is not on their roster, I think it's insane to think that Ray Lewis and other former Ravens are not around. And they probably see a team that looks a little soft, a little less than playing with an edge. And they're in such desperate times and measures that this is a move that has to be made. If John Harbaugh is a smart football guy. Obviously, he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's got to feel what's going on here. The reason I like this is I'm sure the entire Ravens organization is behind this move. There's not people like, well, I don't know if this is the right idea. I don't know if it makes a difference. I think it sets a standard and sets a tone. And look, if we're going to baby you and turn your workplace into a clubhouse and a fun house, maybe we did go a little bit too far. I don't know if it's going to translate to the field. This doesn't seem like a bad move. And if you're the Ravens, this is maybe the best time to try something like this because their season, we know what direction it's gone very, very quickly.
Well, remember, I was the first to report that Belichick was on his way out. I was the first to report at the beginning of this year. I was hearing from Raven people that they think Harbaugh's on his way out. And let me say this. If he gets fired, he will hang up the phone and it will be ringing for other teams to hire him. I don't think he's the issue in Baltimore. Let's move on to the next one. Nielsen ratings are through the roof, but as a guy with a TV background, I don't think they're as accurate as they used to be. What did say you about the ratings for the National Football League?
No, what's happening is the ratings for the NFL are going up because the way the ratings have been taken, they've obviously got to change with streaming services. Not as simple. When you think about when the Nielsen ratings had maybe the most value, you guys had 4 channels out there, maybe 5 if you were lucky. You know what I'm talking about? You guys out there that
Yep.
had to turn the channels by your hands. Now there's 500. The Nielsen ratings are up because we've got streaming, we've got a different way of calculating them. And what I think we should be able to contend is that the Nielsen ratings, they cannot be as accurate as they used to be. This makes it more challenging for advertisers to set advertising rates, and it makes it's a whole lot more challenging to get a feel on how many people are watching it.
Mhm.
I'm not Mr. Cookies or internet security, but if some if 50,000 people are watching through some kind of a VPN or some kind of thing that doesn't tell anybody where they are, I don't know how that gets counted. So it's an interesting time for the NFL. Of all the people looking to do ratings, they are easily in the best position because it's the most popular television entertainment that there is. That still drives the advertising dollar, but it's a weird situation right now. We are needing broadly a new rating system that more accurately completely captures how many people are viewing these things. I'm sure that's what Nielsen and I would assume some other competitor is working on. We're not quite there yet. But as we have seen the advance in NFL technology with the headsets, we've seen advance with the first down sticks. We're understanding there's chips in the balls. I think we can expect that somebody's going to come up with a better way to count these ratings for all the broadcasts. It's just that the NFL advertising dollar is probably worth the most because these are the most popular TV shows in the country.
John, we know what happened with Live Golf competing with the PGA. Is there competition coming for the National Football League?
We're not patting ourselves on the back. You all heard it. We talked about this weeks ago. I think they kind of tipped their cap a little bit when they said, oh, we're going to have this flag football thing over in Saudi Arabia. Okay.
Right.
The PIF supposedly has all the money in the world, and there now you're going to hear some rumblings about them wanting some American football. They want something to do with it. Pro, NFL, college. Do they make their own competitive league? This is something that the NFL owners have got to pay attention to, probably more attention than they think. They've got to get ahead of the story. They got to get the players on their side, or they're going to face an actual legitimate disruption, not the Ted Turner football league that came about during the strike. For some older folks that maybe remember, this is something to keep an eye on the rest of the decade. This also reminds me that we need to stay on top of the idea that the NFLPA is in flux and the NFL players, they got to get it together. They need to get it together probably a little more than they've had it this first part of the decade. There's a lot of stuff coming to them. Some of it they're going to want. For example, playing on Friday night instead of Thursday night. For example, the idea and what I think we all see that did come out earlier this week also, we're headed towards a Labor Day to President's Day NFL schedule, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But some of these things, the players got to wake up to. They got to get organized with it. The owners have got to understand and get their head around, do they want PIF involvement? What kind of threat is the PIF? They got to get ahead of the curve. You saw what happened to pro golf. Everybody has lost, in my opinion. And I'm as big a pro golf fan as any single person listening to this show. Yes, even you, man. So
Hey, I remember
know
when I
this-
told you about I got invited to play the Masters and I didn't realize it was that big of a deal. And I said, no, I hate golf.
yeah,
And you were
well, no,
ready to kill me.
yeah. Well, I'm talking to the fan out there that's like, hey, wait a minute, I belong to 4 or 5 clubs. Listen, buddy, I'm Caddy John in Atlanta. If you know the game, you know who that is. All right. Put that aside. This is so much bigger than pro golf. You don't think the PIF's going to back up truck after truck after truck with money? You don't think they're going to come at this thing with an organization? The NFL needs to be aware of this. I'm not surprised that only a few weeks after this flag football thing do we hear that these guys are looking to become part of it. Maybe there's people in the NFL that are already further down the road and know some of this. I got a feeling that out of the 32 owners, there's not enough of them that are aware of what this might be and have done a little bit of work on it. They need to get working on it the next time they get together.
Great. All right, John. For we have so many literal new viewers and watchers each and every week. John picks the four most exciting NFL games. We pick them, and the ones we disagree on, we keep track. Where are we at for the season, John?
You're off to a nice start. 5-1-1. That's a pretty good record to have. Pretty good
I'm
record to have.
leading you by that much.
Well, you've won. Yeah, you've won those games. Yeah, and most of the time they're close, which is fun. We've got a unique extra point that we're just going to throw. It's not really an extra point. It's a trap game. Which is the bigger trap game this week? If you've looked at the schedule, I think you guys have seen this. Buffalo at Carolina or Cleveland at New England. Which is the bigger trap game for the team in the AFC East?
Oh, Buffalo, Carolina to me.
You think that's a potential trap game that the Bills could fall into?
Yeah, just because Carolina is so bad that Buffalo could be like, yeah, we got this.
I think they're both interesting. I
So
think
which
so.
one are we picking?
Well, we're not picking them. We're just which one is more likely the trap game. It's just a different question off to the
I
side.
think that I think the favorite's going to win them both, but I think Buffalo, Carolina, just because Carolina is so bad.
For some reason, I think the New England game. New England is at home. Carolina at home doesn't mean anything. I'm going
Right,
to
but the
agree with
Buffalo
you.
game is going to be a home game for them at Carolina.
Yes, but I'm going to agree with you. I don't know what's going on in Buffalo, but if for some reason they fall in this trap, their position in what they're going to do the rest of the year, it could flip big time. Now we are going to pick four. They seem to be pretty obvious. The first one is a division game with a weaker division. We're talking Buccaneers at Saints. Baker Mayfield has been chirping, saying, "I do not expect anything clean from the Saints." Battle lines drawn. Buccaneers need one going into the Saints.
The Saints would schedule themselves for homecoming if they were a college team. The Bucks and my boy Baker Mayfield. I love me some Baker Mayfield, and they go in there and decimate them.
Baker bounced back. It's a tough one. When you saw what happened to Mike Evans last week, when I saw it in real time, you were like, "Is this guy concussed? What happened?" That play, had he caught the ball, maybe changes that game. Instead, it changes their season. The Buccaneers bounce back, but that's going to be a close one in division. Interesting, of course. Packers at Steelers. The old,
Mm.
the new, the Rodgers retirement, etc. Packers at Steelers, and let's be honest, the turf. And just to go on record, I think the same as so many people out there. They use the stadium in Pittsburgh all the time. Put the turf in the stadium, period.
Okay, so let me say this. I love Aaron Rodgers, but I've got to go with the Pack. I don't even know what Vegas has this game at. I don't care. I'm gonna pick the Pack, but I would love to be wrong and see the Steel Men get the win.
I like the Steelers in this one. I like the Steelers at home. Maybe the Packers, the field slides off and into one of the three rivers. I like the Steelers at home this time, mostly just because they're at home, not because of Rodgers. Rodgers doesn't have anything to prove. It's not like he's gonna. It's not like he just left Green Bay. It seems like he left Green Bay a long time ago now. To be honest with
More
you, given
concerned about the Pittsburgh defense. What has happened to the Pittsburgh defense? It's like me waking up saying, gee, I love carbs. What has happened? This is immoral. It is un American. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I cut my teeth watching my boy George Perlis coach the Steelmen. I have always believed in their defense, and now they can score points and can't stop anybody. It's immoral.
you know what I think's happened to them. I mean, their best player is getting older. He is the best player on defense. Hayward is getting older. Doesn't mean he's bad. Doesn't mean he's not really good. But I think that maybe they're getting a little older. I don't make any
Right.
sense of it otherwise. The Cowboys can score points. The Broncos can stop points. We all enjoyed the ending of the Broncos and Giants. We talked about the wildness earlier. Cowboys go in there. They're up a mile, as in a mile high. Broncos have defense. Broncos have momentum. I'm going with Denver.
I am going to go with Denver in this one. To me, Sean Payton is such a great coach. he is the epitome of he asks guys to do what they can. He does not ask them to do anything that they can't. That to me is where my frustration was with Chip Kelly in the Raiders. Uh, Chip came in his very first press conference. I wrote about it. I talked about it. I said, woohoo, finally somebody saying I'm going to put a system around my guys that they can do. And then you do the opposite.
Where is
I don't ask Shannon to do what she can't do because she's great at what she does. And Sean Payton, whether you like his acerbic style or not, it's great for us. He is the best at it. I'm riding with Denver. I just cannot believe in the Cowboys. I just can't. I can't do it. It's just call me from Missouri, and you got to show me. I'm just not buying in them. Every time I buy into them, boom, they crash. I'm sorry. You have broken me. You have destroyed my faith in you. I will never believe in the Cowboys again. You fired Jimmy Johnson. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. Denver all the way.
You made two good points there, I think. One is Sean Payton is one of the great optimizers.
Yes.
He's got as much out of the talent that he's coached really at everywhere he's been. And yes, I do think that comes from working under Bill Parcells. I do think that.
And you want to know what bugs me, John? I love Jerry Jones. I love Jerry Jones. He is such a nice human being. You get away from all the rhetoric, get away from all the persona. He's such a great guy. I want Jerry to do well. The NFL is better when the Cowboys are better. Yeah, I'm not even a Cowboy fan. I always joke my Uncle Jerry and Aunt Marlene are from Dallas. Love you guys. And they're not Dallas fans. But everybody else in Texas is. But I just don't, I just cannot. I love Jerry, can't buy into the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's a fair point. And to this point, if they go into Denver and win, let alone win, somewhat comfortably, then you say, okay, you've shown us a little something. You've shown us something. Now,
let me just say this to you. Even if they go in and win, it'll be a great win. But it will be like my wife saying to me, if I'm going to order this one thing on Amazon, I'm never going to order anything again. We all know she's going to, so don't lie to me. Just order it. I don't want to hear it. And if you go and win in Denver, it's a great win. But I still can't believe in you.
I'm not sure that they're a complete team. I'm with you. Not sure they're a complete team. The last game took a turn, obviously, because Jaden Daniels, I think Washington's doing the smart thing in sitting him. I also think they've got a fantastic backup in Marcus Mariota. Now, what we are seeing in real time is not what necessarily Raider fans want to hear about, but we are seeing the Chiefs continue their ascent. They are looking close to unstoppable on offense. They're not there yet, but they are looking close to unstoppable. We do not know the situation with Josh Simmons. We really don't know. No idea. But they're plugging that gap for now. Everybody who is a skill player is getting tuned up. So this is, I think, a blowout. I think Kansas City is going to roll Washington for many reasons, primarily because the Washington, they can't stop enough people, and they're not going to be able to score enough with Marcus Mariota in there and not Jaden Daniels.
The Chiefs are going to do to the Commanders what I'm going to do later today on date night with Shannon, and I am going to destroy a plate of lobster enchiladas. Okay. Oh. And the Chiefs are going to do to the Commanders what I'm about to do to some lobster enchiladas, John.
Well, let's talk about this for a second, because some people are not a fan of the Monday night doubleheader. I don't know who you folks are. Here's
what
why.
What is wrong with people? More football?
Yes, here's why. And what we heard this week was Roger Goodell basically said, well, we're going to use artificial intelligence and off-field officials. We haven't heard that much from the fans. Oh, really? If you're like me and you want an off-field official, I guess we need to the best thing to do would be write a letter and mail it to the NFL. Like, hey, maybe you get an off-field official. The reason I like the Monday night doubleheader is a couple. There's a good chance one of those games is going to be a dud, and I believe it sets the path. It produces the path to walk down that all Saturday and Sunday games are played at 1 o'clock local time. I mentioned that because if you look at that, it would keep us from trying to watch 8 or 6 or 7 games at 1 o'clock, which is not as good as there's 3 or 4 1 o'clock kickoff Eastern. Then there's a couple of 2 o'clock Eastern, or 2 o'clock Eastern kickoffs. I like the idea of rolling finishes, kind of like the old days of the NCAA basketball tournament, where they stagger the starts. So you watch an ending, you go to the next one, and you can see them all. That, I believe, is why Monday night doubleheaders make sense. I have no problem, and I respect you folks on the West Coast. Some people say, well, nobody would see that Seahawks game the other week start at 10 o'clock. That's fair. You know what? There's millions of people that live on the West Coast. Not everything needs to be Eastern time zone biased. I don't have a problem with the Monday night doubleheaders. I would like them in approximately half the season, maybe something like 7 to 10 weeks. And I can't be the only one out there that is a fan of Monday night doubleheaders. And I also can't be the only one that doesn't say, hey, give the folks out west a chance to have some local games start at a reasonable time also.
As a West Coast guy now, and that is so hard for me to say, I love when Monday Night Football's at 5 o'clock. Shannon and I can literally make dinner appointments where when it's 8 o'clock and the game's over and I get home and everybody's in bed, now it's, hey, you want to go to dinner or a show after Monday Night Football? Sure, let's go. I love it. All right, Johnny, listen. So we didn't disagree on any games, did we?
I got the Steelers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You got the steal, man. I hope you're right. I'm willing to give up a week for the Steelman. All right, Johnny. Always great to talk to you. Tell everybody where to find you on X.
At JP Spartan.
All right, everybody. Check it out. At JP Spartan. Go green. See you guys back next week.